This is where I started. And this is where I am now. But this is not what you think. Look, I won't deny that there is something magical about the promise of a new planner. The perfect layout, the perfect structure. The idea that this is the one that is going to get my life under control. It's exciting, it's inspiring, and it's often completely unrealistic. Because for a lot of us, the problem isn't that we haven't found the perfect planner yet. It's that the planners that we keep choosing are too complicated. And there are just way too many damn options. You've got coil bound, you've got disc bound, you've got ring bound, you've got bound. And then there's A5 and B6 and classic and letter size. And then we get into the brands. Are you going to go with an Erin Condren, with a Happy Planner, a Hobonichi? Are you going to go into a bullet journal? It's completely overwhelming. So I thought, as we're moving into planner season, what if I tried something different? What if, instead of another $100 planner or another time-consuming bullet journal with a companion commonplace notebook that is never at hand when I think I want it anyway, I tried something new? Because I'm thinking that the solution is not to get better at a complicated system. It's to remove the complexity altogether. Enter the notebook. Instead of constantly juggling multiple tools, separate planners, and elaborate layouts, everything goes in to this bad boy. All of it. Tasks, notes, ideas, to-do lists, grocery lists, meeting minutes. It's all captured in one place. No dividing things by category, no having to remember which system each piece of information needs to go into, no constantly switching between tools. There's just one home for everything. And because there's only one place to look, there's no more decision fatigue before I even get started. A single notebook becomes like a second brain in paper form. So instead of asking, where should this go? The only question becomes, what do I need to remember? And then it goes straight on to the next available page. That means I'm capturing information faster. Finding it later actually becomes easier because there's only one place to look. And the habit of writing absolutely everything down just becomes second nature. And I understand that the main worry is going to be that mixing every single thing together is going to make it harder to find, which honestly is a primary concern with starting a commonplace notebook. But I think the opposite is actually happening. I can't write anything in the wrong place because there is no wrong place. The key here, obviously, is going to be making the notebook easy to use, which means choosing one that feels comfortable and easy to write in, and also probably pretty portable. It doesn't have to be expensive or beautiful. In fact, it probably shouldn't be, because we don't want our notebooks to feel intimidating. How many times have you bought a notebook and then put it on the shelf because you need the perfect reason to use it, right? It's too pretty to make to-do lists in. I need to save this for something special. And that's how we begin to hoard notebooks. So I definitely wanted to use a notebook that was just usable. There was no thought, there was no preciousness involved. It just needs to be a notebook. None of this is Instagram worthy. It's not a work of art. It is a tool. So the question for me became, do I stick with an A5 Stalogy because that's what I'm comfortable in? It's a size that I'm used to. Plus, I just bought a new one during my no-buy justification June, so I have one available. Or my other option was to take the 7x9 that I had recoiled to turn into my social media planner and start using this as my number one ride or die. And yeah, I mean, it's chunky, but I got a big purse, so carrying it around is not a big deal. And clearly, I chose my handy dandy notebook because it's just so damn convenient. I already have calendars in there because I was using it as a social media calendar, so I can just start using those to track, my monthly things like bills and appointments and reminders and things like that. There's plenty of room. And since I recoiled it and added a bunch of pages, it's nice and chunky and it's gonna last me a long time. And when it fills up, since I already know how to recoil it and I have so many of these notebooks laying around from years past, I can just start refilling pages. I can pull out, the bull crap, like the random lists and the brain dumps and stuff. I can rip all those out and then recoil in fresh pages. So it starts to become like a living archive of the things that are most important to me. But it's still just a notebook. Now, if you are, getting some sparks on this idea, but you like a bound notebook, once you fill that up, it's just so easy. It's, kind of like a bullet journal. You just label it and you put it on the shelf. It's there if you need to refer to it. If there are things you refer to all the time, you can migrate it into a new notebook. And if you're feeling super froggy, you can type it all out into a document and store it on the cloud so you can refer back to it whenever you want. However, the odds of you referring to something once you take it out of that notebook are very, very slim, but it is your time and you can use it however you choose to use it. Now let's talk about organization for a second, because that is going to be the biggest question on everyone's mind. I know that it was when I talked about my commonplace notebook many moons ago. For a basic notebook system, I think the easiest way is going to just be to date every entry. That way it gives some kind of natural order. A quick note of the date at the top of the page gives you a timeline for the order of your information. Looking back for something later becomes easy because it's all in chronological order. There's no need to create elaborate sections or even an index system before you start. Though I would recommend adding little signposts to help access the kind of information that you're going to want to refer back to, or just, moving a post-it note from day to day to day with today written on it so you know where your daily to-do list is if you're going to close it and open it throughout the day. You could keep the first page blank and use it as an index as you're going. Just make a quick note of important page numbers that you know you're going to want to go back to and find easily. Or just get some bookmarks or some sticky tabs or all those Ollie clips that you bought because they were all the rage on Instagram. You can do whatever you need to do to make this system your own. The point is to be easy breezy, not complicated schmomplicated. As you go, your cues are going to naturally evolve over time. They're going to make sense to you and your ADHD goblin. It's going to become a muscle that flexes in a predictable way. And you're going to be able to find what you need because you are always going to be in one place. The reason I think this is going to work so well is because it's built for real life. And life does not happen in neatly divided sections. Your day might start with brainstorming. Then it'll move into a reminder to call the dentist. Then you're going to shift into writing down an idea for dinner, and you're going to end your day with a random brain dump. Using one single notebook doesn't force these kinds of things into categories. It lets them live together the same way they do in my scrambled ass brain. I honestly feel like this thing is already reducing my mental load. I no longer have to remember, did I put that in my bullet journal? Did I put it in my commonplace notebook? Did I put it on a sticky note and slap it on my desk? No, it's in here. It's in here. I know where it is. Yeah, I got to take a few seconds to flip through and find the page I wrote it on. It's still going to take less time than digging through my entire office and going through multiple places where I was constantly trying to keep all these different things separated by type. And the best part for me, anyway, is the complete messiness of this notebook because it reflects my real life. And my life is never orderly from start to finish. And I highly doubt that yours is. Messy pages means the system is being used, that I'm not curating it for appearance. And that authenticity makes it so much easier for me to just write without hesitation, without fear of getting it right, whatever that means. And like I said, over time, patterns are going to emerge. I mean, that's probably why I've been able to stick with this BuJo for so long. I do have a natural rhythm with it, but I've never really allowed myself to use it as more than a planner. And I really think that that has been to my detriment. Plus, I never bother to use the collections and the shit that I put into it anyway. It just becomes wasted space and wasted time and wasted potential. I draw all these things out because that's what you're supposed to do when you set up a new bullet journal. But I never, ever refer back to them. So why am I constantly doing all of this work just to end up vomiting my to-do list onto a Holiday Inn notepad I stole from a hotel in 2016? I really, really feel like this is a natural evolution for me. From a bullet journal that I was never doing right to a notebook that I can't F up. The freedom that I think is going to come from simplifying in this way is profound. Instead of spending my time managing my system, drawing out spreads, trying to figure out how to decorate it because, I have to. No, I don't. Now I have more time to focus on doing the work, making the decisions, and living my life. This notebook has already become my partner instead of just being one more project. It doesn't require setup days or maintenance time. It just quietly holds everything I want to remember until that information is needed. At the very least, I am going to be using, look at this. Maybe don't use, so I have this pocket that holds these stickers, and normally it's fine because my notebook is flat, but they're flying out, sorry. At the very least, I am going to use this chunky bastard through the end of this year. I am letting go of juggling multiple planners, multiple notebooks, multiple everything. And I am replacing it with one single, dependable, reliable place to capture all of my information. Because maybe my problem was never discipline or dedication. It was the systems I kept trying to use, demanding more energy than they were giving back to me. Look, life will always be busy, and chaos isn't going anywhere. But maybe this can reduce the noise in my head. Having one clear home for everything that rattles around up in here. I don't expect this notebook to fix every problem, but I really think it could be the anchor that makes the rest of my life feel easier to navigate. I just hit myself in the face with it. It's really heavy. And the best part is I just started in a notebook I was already using. And now I'm moving forward with something intentionally messy and chaotic and so me. So what do you think? Are you brave enough to ditch the siren call of planner season this year? Could you pull a notebook off the shelf and join my revolution? Come to the dark side. We have coffee stains and washi tape. Don't forget to smash all those YouTube buttons for me and leave me a comment below and let me know what you think. Do you think that using one single notebook in a messy, unhinged way would free you to act on your plans rather than focus on planning? And look, I know for a lot of people, the decorating and the setting up of a planner and all of that can feel like a creative outlet, right? Like it's almost meditative. And if that is your jam and your system already works for you, fantastic. But if you are like me and you have a system and it works, but it never felt quite right. Like I always end up back in a bullet journal because it's the most free of the systems I've tried until now. But there are still rules that I think I have to follow with it. So I think moving out of this, I think not calling it a bullet journal, just using a notebook that I can also decorate and draw out spreads and do whatever in, I think this just feels more free than the structure that I want to force myself into with this. So maybe the notebook is a mindset thing more than an active thing. I don't know. But I know that I have gotten so much more done. I know that this is working. So I'm going to stick with this. And I just invite you to try. Just try. Especially if you're someone who buys a $100 planner every year or multiple $100 planners every year, and you still end up writing your to-do list on a sticky note, maybe just give it a try in a notebook you already have before you buy that next planner and just see how it feels. Because for me, this feels like planner peace. And I was starting to believe that wasn't a real thing. So I want to thank you for hanging out with me today. I hope that this video resonated with you. I hope that you'll give it a try. What can it hurt, right? You already have notebooks. I know you do. Just give it a try. You might be surprised how it feels. I love you so much, and I will see you next time. Bye.